Well, one of the funniest emojis I've ever seen is a little steaming pile of poo emoji. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I think I've sent that a couple times when I thought it was inappropriate in my quirky sense of humor. And as we approach the Christmas season, I want to confess that there have been holidays in the past where I feel like I've left a steaming pile of poo somewhere in the family room, or even worse, on the Christmas table. And what I mean by that is porn has robbed me of the ability to experience joy and pleasure and fun because I was so caught up in this horrible, crappy feeling of having looked at porn and just feeling robbed of what the Christmas season was supposed to mean. So against that idea, I want to spend some time and talk about some helpful hints for you to have a successful holidays. Welcome aboard.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, here we are, the latter part of December, the week before Christmas, 2022, and we are only a couple days away from the darkest day of the year up here. For you listening in Australia and New Zealand, I'm jealous of you. But up here right now, it's dark at 4 o'clock at night, and 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun comes up, and it creates for lots of days of a lot of darkness. It's dark when you go to work in the morning, and it's dark when you come home. And it's interesting as we kind of prepare ourselves for the Christmas season, it's interesting just how common this theme of light is in so many different traditions. I know this is the week where the Jewish people celebrate the Festival of Lights, and which is, I think, all about the restoration of the temple in my minimal Jewish knowledge. My wife teaches immigrant kids from all over the world, and they also have what's called the Festival of Lights, Diwali. And one of the things they do, there's a number of days of that celebration, is they light clay lamps outside of their homes, and it symbolizes light, and light that protects a person from spiritual darkness. And of course, in the Christmas/Christian tradition, the birth of Jesus represents light as well. One of the classic verses around the Christmas story is, "Those living in darkness have experienced a great light." So this theme of light is it's not surprising that it's so powerful this time of the year. Light is so needed. Up here in northern climates, there's something called seasonal affective disorder, and or SAD, and it really is oftentimes based on it's people struggle with their mood, their emotions, and all of the darkness that we experience. And there's different ways that are used to combat it. There is actually lamps you can get, light lamps. You're told to take extra vitamin D because certainly in northern climates, you don't get vitamin D at this latitude, apparently, from the sun. There's medication, different things, light therapy. So this whole idea of light, I think, is such a perfect metaphor for what we are trying to walk into with guys who are purposing to experience and to walk out recovery in our lives. We've all experienced parts of our life that are shadowed, parts of our life that we've hid away from others out of shame and fear, self-contempt, thinking, if people knew this about me, they would judge me, or they would reject me, or I'm completely broken. Unlike anybody else, I'm the only one that's this messed up. As a result, we hide away from people. And the whole theme here of light is the idea of walking into the light. One of the things in our groups that is such a huge byproduct is, men learn to be honest about their lives. They learn to not only be honest, they learn to share that with other men. And together they realize, you know what, I guess I'm like other men. I struggle with some of the same things. And as they learn to tell the truth to other people, in a weird way, it's almost like some of the guys are going, it's like for the first time I'm able to tell the truth to myself. I'm able to experience light. I'm able to experience that light shining on different parts of my life. And it feels good. Yeah, it's scary, but it feels good. The 12-step program talks about making a fearless moral inventory. And for me, what that says is people who are willing to allow all of those areas of their lives to be examined. So you know what? We if we're going to grow, we have to be willing to examine what has not worked for us in the past. And we've all, if you're listening to this podcast, you've come to the conclusion that porn doesn't work for you anymore. So, having said all of that, and to avoid that steaming pile of poo emoji, we want to talk just about some simple, practical hints for you to prepare to be successful this Christmas. I mean, again, there's been Christmases where I said I was not successful, and it affected the mood of my entire holiday season. So again, this obviously some of these applications or some of these suggestions are really going to vary depending on what your situation is. If you're in a relationship, that's one scenario. If a relationship has ended, that's a different scenario. If you're having Christmas at home, that's one. If you're traveling to be with family, that's a different scenario. So bear with me as I just throw out some different scenarios that may or may not reflect you and your situation. Here's the first one. Christmas for many people, and certainly many people in recovery, is not, despite the song, the happiest time of the year. What it often means is, for example, you might have lost a relationship around your addictive behaviors. And Christmas is the worst time because it just reminds you, and it's just like regret thrown in your face. The lost relationship, the lost respect, perhaps, with your partner, with your kids. And so this is a season that it's especially difficult for guys who are, having frayed relationships, right? Where you're supposed to be close and connected and joyful. All you are aware of is, I'm not in a good place, and our relationship is not in a good place. And you might not be able to do anything about it in the short term, but let me use this as a way of propelling you to think about future Christmases. I want to regain the respect of those loved ones in my family, so that in future Christmases, maybe it's still too fresh, but I would love in future for me to regain a place of trust in my family. Talking about families, it's also often times not the happiest time of the year is families can bring out all of those toxic relationships in your nuclear family, right? You're with family and you're going, boy, that's why I moved away. Or you know what? They're still treating me like I was 20 years younger. I'm still the baby of the family, or I'm still the person that everyone thinks, oh, he's going to screw up, or they're still the one that they make jokes about, or in those situations, other people's brokenness can become jagged in affecting your pain. So in this whole idea of planning, let's just start with this. Number one, you are probably going to experience some strong emotions this holiday season. So I want you to think through, what are those strong emotions? Is it regret? Is it anger at my older brother or my younger sister? Or is it going to be hurt? And actually write those down. Say, when I feel this way, now I know I'm going to want to run to porn or want to run to some other medicating behavior. When I am triggered this way, then I will respond. Then I will do this. So you're preparing, you're not going to allow these negative feelings to be a surprise to you this holiday season. So I think that's just helpful to state going in. Now let's get a little bit more practical. Now, first of all, chances are, now you might not have 2 weeks off like some teachers that I know, or government workers or whatever it is, but you probably have some extended time off, Christmas to New Year's or whatever it is. But here's the point. The point is that you now are thrown off your regular schedule. And I've had guys say to me, it's like during the week, it goes pretty well because I've got my 8-9 hours of my commuting time. So I get up and it's all about getting ready for work, go off to work, do my thing, and then commute home. And by the time I get home, that kind of, there's not a lot of time, maybe a couple hours, 2-3 hours. And Monday to Friday feels pretty normal, and it kind of takes care of itself. For bedtime can be a problem, but, it's still a pretty narrow time of challenges. But all of a sudden you're off work for 2 weeks and you go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with my time? And, and that can be, you can prepare for that. You can think that through. If you're out 2 weeks off, is you're losing 40 hours right there in a week. And you're going, what am I going to do with my time? What are those activities? What are some books that I can pre-order and put on my computer or get from the library, or a good, clean, tame video game I can play, or whatever it is, going out to a movie with, what are some good Christmas movies, that I want to go see with my buddies, or maybe we're going to go up skiing or hiking, whatever it is. But you've got to prepare for a loss of routine, and you've got to plan for that. So that's just something, again, you can prepare for, you can think through. Don't let it be a surprise to you, because it happens every year. Here's another thing you can think through and prepare. This whole idea about, let's just say some of you guys might be traveling and going into a different location for the holiday season. Some of the younger guys, college students that I work with, university students, they're heading back to family for the holidays, or you're traveling to be with family. Well, guess what? When you get back to be with family, chances are they don't have Covenant Eyes on all their computers. Well, that's a big surprise. And you're not going to be telling them to put Covenant. Mom, can you put Covenant Eyes on the family computer? Say what? That's not going to play at Hollywood. So you've got to think that through. I've had people say, I got stuck in this room to sleep with my family, and there's a smart TV in there. What did you expect of me? Right? And you're going, okay, you need to think through some of those practical things. When you're living in a home environment, it can be a little bit more tailored to your greater goals, your greater objectives. But just like a travel plan, if you go to a hotel, there's going to be a TV there. What are you going to do, and how are you going to deal with it? When you go home for the holidays, for example, or in a new situation, you're going to experience some of those technological challenges in terms of that. You can plan for that. You can plan to be successful. Don't let the holidays just happen to you. Here's another one. Again, I'm not a big drinker, but I do know around holidays, it's not surprising it's not uncommon for people to drink more than they normally do. You're hanging around, especially if you don't have to go to work the next day. That kind of, having to go to work every day provides a bit of a self-corrective right there. But if you're not going to work every day, and it's easy to drink more than you normally would. And I know enough to know that when people drink beyond their normal limits, what happens is it pushes down your inhibitions. A good buddy of mine who ran a recovery ministry, he was super honest. He said, in the last 10 years, I've probably acted out 10 times. Which was kind of cool that he even led a ministry, but he was honest enough that he was honest with his own failures. I remember him saying, you know what, 9 of those 10 times it was associated with drinking beforehand. And I had been drinking, and it just kind of threw off a number of things as part of that. He says, I can't remember what the 10th time was, but then he had come up with a new thing, and he says, if I'm gonna drink, I don't know how much it was or anything. He says, I gotta text these 3 guys or 4 guys to let them know, and I got to do that in advance. The bottom line is he just knew that drinking was problematic towards his recovery goals. Let me even say this, and I don't want to really rain on our parade too much. I think it also can apply just to junk food as well. You go, now, Vern, you're really messing me up here. But here's the point. If I know guys, it's interesting when they eat a lot of junk food, it kind of tweaks this, man, I just feel crappy about myself. Man, I'm fat. Man, I'm overweight. Man, I'm not in shape. Man, and when they have a junk food binge, that feeling of I'm a loser or, whatever that is, it kind of just adds to this, well, since I'm a loser, one of the things losers do is look at porn. And so again, you can add just some thoughts. What am I going to do around my food intake? How can I plan some exercise into what I'm going to do during my holidays? Well, with our check-in, we do a active commitments check-in where we walk through people's commitments around recovery, around friendships and relationships, their spiritual goals, and physical. We talk about how much sleep are you getting. If you're down, during the holidays to 5 and 6 hours of sleep, I guarantee it's only a matter of time before you're going to start engaging in some wobbly activities. So again, that is another example. Again, those are just some thoughts that come to me. You can take control of the coming holidays if you think it through, like you would, for example, a travel plan. I don't know about you, but I want to stay away from the poo emojis this holiday season. I want my holidays to be free. I want to be able to be fully present with my family this holidays. I want to be available for other people. I want to experience the joy of seeing, for example, my kids open their presents. I want to laugh. One of the things that gets lost with me, the very first thing is I stop laughing. I lose the joy. I guess it's good. My wife said to me recently, you laugh more than you've ever laughed. So I'm not sure what that says about me in an earlier version, but I'd like to think that recovery plays some part of that. So here's to a great Christmas season, Diwali season, Hanukkah season, however you celebrate light, let the light in, pull the shades up, and I just pray for a great holiday season for you as you walk and experience the benefits of just recovery and experience. I hope you pray, and pray that you experience joy this holiday season. We'll see you next time.